Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast. My name is DJ. I have an esteemed panel assembled for this evening. And dare I say, guys, it's November 17th. I think we got a damn good show on tap tonight. I wouldn't have expected that, but I really think we do. And to help me do it is my guy, T-Ron Carter is here. Tron, how are you?
Hello, Deej. I'm great. We're really excited down here in Jax after the 52 to 6 or 52 to 3 loss that the Jags just had. Hopefully we're cleaning house.
Condolences, man. As always, I wait to get any NFL news from the ball knowers about 3 weeks after it happened. So I look forward to hearing about that one. Speaking of ball knowers, Randy, what are we? 3 weeks from the wedding?
We are just inside 3 weeks. Yeah. Everything is progressing nicely. I can report. Thank you. And we're happy to be here. November 17th. Where would I rather be, DJ, than here just talking golf?
I love
Right.
it, man. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna get to a lot of different things. We have Rory McIlroy winning his sixth race to Dubai title. We have Nelly Korda winning on the LPGA. We have Rafa Campos winning in Bermuda. We're gonna dissect TC. I know we're gonna have to keep TC like behind the starting blocks for a while before
I
we
put my doke hat on.
we are going to get deep into the new golf.com top 100 US list. We've got an E9 curated by our guy TC, carefully curated. Each course leading to the next. He's put together quite a menu for the E9 tonight. We're going to do a little housekeeping stuff. We're going to hear what the hell's going on with Randy's golf game. I don't think anybody's gotten updated on that for quite a while. And I'm going to do one for the road. I got a good one pulled for you guys that we will do at the end of the show. But before we get there, we need to talk about Rafa Campos winning.
Of course. Where else would we start?
No, well, I'm not actually getting into the X's and
I'm
O's,
just
Randy. I
kidding,
want to
man.
shout out our friends at Titleist because Rafa Campos was able to win his first PGA Tour event down in Bermuda thanks to his Pro V1. TC, we had some audio of Rafa talking about why he plays the Pro
Yeah.
V1. He loves that he can flight it down. He loves that it spins a little less. And God, was that important this week in Bermuda, where it was
Yes.
like tropical storm wind conditions going on. And Rafa controlled his golf ball better than anybody, didn't he?
Yeah, he feels like he can actually feel the ball compress a little bit, and same reason I play the Pro V1. I played in some windy conditions myself.
Of course.
Guys, I hit all 13 fairways on Friday, and I played awful. So I didn't do what Rafa did, but I was great off the tee thanks to my Pro V1. And we're not talking X's and O's, but we are talking V's, right?
That's
So
exactly right. Well, TC, trust and consistency when it matters. It's why Rafa and 73% of the field this week play the Pro V1 or Pro V1X. Head to Titleist.com to learn more and find out which model is right for your game. That's the thing. Don't just hear like, oh, it spins less, I should
yeah,
get that for the win. Figure out what works for you because, I play the Pro V1X because I need a little bit more spin. If I was trying to play that in those windy conditions, it wouldn't go well. So figure out what works for you and go to Titleist.com to do that. Guys, we've got a lot of competitive golf to get through. We're going to try to do it somewhat quickly because we have a robust agenda on the back end. Rory McIlroy won on the DP World Tour. TC, why don't you give us a little bit of what do people need to know in case people weren't getting up in the middle of the night to watch this one? What do people need to know from Rory's sixth race to Dubai title?
yeah. The DP World Tour Championship. I think this is a BDE.
I
Big
think so.
field.
Yeah.
William Ho was over there for it. Tyrrell Hatton, Joaquin Neiman, Tommy, things of that nature.
All kinds of
Rory,
Hoygards.
yeah, all kinds of Hoygards. We'll get there. Rory won by 2 over Rasmus Højgaard. Lowry, Rosner, and Adam Scott rounded out the top 5. Tyrrell Hatton finished 6th. His behavior was turned up to a bajillion this week. He he wrote "Be nice" on on his glove, which I think it was a FootJoy glove. But yeah, just very much like really really piss poor behavior from him, which
Hell
was
yeah.
great to see. Means he still cares, right? Big Shot Bob, Wacko, and a few others finished tied for 7th. Like you said off the top, this was Rory's 6th Euro/DP Tour uh, championship and 3rd in a row. So he's won 22, 23, and 24. And it ties him with Seve, which, a lot of emotional, kind of an emotional speech. His family was there. He's still 2 behind Monty, though. I think everybody's kind of crowned Seve. Monty might be the best European player of all time.
I mean,
and
it's
nobody's talking about him.
just the 8 money lists without a major is like it's iconic
That's
stuff,
the
man.
good stuff.
That might be what Tommy should aspire to, right? I don't think he has any
Exactly.
money lists yet, but he should,
Yeah, he's
I
gotta get on
think
his horse.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was kind of a, like Rory, props to him for I don't think he needed to win, like, he just needed to basically finish the tournament, I think, and he went out and won the tournament and the whole season-long deal, so good stuff there. I think the other thing, the big takeaway was the 10 PGA Tour cards, the DP World Feeder Tour, feeding into the PGA Tour, so
It's
we've got
for all the people who are like, "It's not a feeder tour, it's not a feeder tour." It is absolutely not a feeder tour. Like, these names you're about to list off, I'm just like, man, if I was a DP World Tour fan, I think I'd be like, "Man, I'd be sick to keep those guys playing over here."
yeah, you got Rasmus Højgaard. I believe Nikolai had his card this past year. Tristan Lawrence, or Tristan, or Thurston, however we're pronouncing that. Paul Waring, which nobody canceled us for the
I
Paul
know.
Waring thing, so I
Interesting.
think
Maybe
we were
nobody's
right.
listening.
Yeah. Jesper Svensson, Nicholas Norgard, who listen, we got
Your
into
boy.
him
Yeah.
last week.
We've
Matteo
been on
Manacero,
we've been
your
on him for
boy.
weeks. We've been on Norgay for weeks. Manistero I've been on for years. That's
Yeah,
Cody's gonna be so jacked up to see him playing at like what's he gonna play, like the Byron Nelson or something?
which I'll be curious to see what Monacero, like how a guy like that crafts his schedule,
Yeah,
right? Is he
real.
actually going to come over and play? Torbjorn is back. Antoine Rosner, Hoshino, he's had a great season out there, and then Tom McKibben. The Irish people. Listen, I get it. We're gonna call out Tom McKibben. He got his card. Okay, you don't have to DM me. You don't have to text me. We see you guys. All right. There's another
Hundreds,
Irishman.
thousands of people DM and TC about McKibben.
So yeah, so it went down to 18th on the points list. Hatton obviously banned from the PGA Tour,
Sure.
and then another 7 already have their PGA Tour cards. So basically, the top 18 guys that finished on the European Tour are either on LIV or have their tour card already. So
But outside of that, there's some names you can watch from a week to week basis. Anything else on the DP World Tour before we throw it to Randall for an LPGA update?
not really. I mean, Tommy kind of lit his rig on fire on Saturday,
Which is
but
a
we don't need
change.
to get into that. Yeah, otherwise he would have, like, if he shoots 65 instead of 75, he would have tied for the lead. There would have been a playoff. But
God. I mean, we were so
dang.
close.
It's one of those all-time what ifs.
Randall, take us to
Turn it
the
over to Randy.
take us over to the LPGA.
All right, guys. We're gonna go to the Onica, driven by Gamebridge at Pelican, and I want to just start off. If we got 2 prepositions in the tournament title, it's one too many at least. Just a lot going on here. But what I can report, Nelly Korda ultimately pulled away for a 3-shot victory, guys. Really good golf by her. She actually started out the front 9, went out in 2 over, was at one point, I believe, 6 shots back of the lead. And then a combination of nobody really pulled away. And then Nelly birdied 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. She finishes at 14 under par, 3 shots clear of a trio of women in 3rd place, including Charlie Hall. But let's talk about Nelly real quick, briefly. This was her 3rd win in the past 4 events at the Pelican. So definitely a horse for course here. This was her first start since September. I don't know if you guys remember, she had a bit of a neck injury that caused her to withdraw from a couple of the Asian events. So just comes back, plays great golf at an event that she's won a couple of times. It's her 7th win this year. It's her 15th career LPGA title. She officially wrapped up Player of the Year last week.
15
So that's
seems so light.
It does.
light.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. You just think
I
about
mean,
like
she's
it's her
26.
7th win of the year.
With a little injury.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. She wrapped up Player of the Year, which is a quantitative award on the LPGA. So kudos to her for that.
How do you feel about that, by the way? That seems if
I
no
like
disrespect,
it.
I think it's
The
kind of
data
chicken shit.
girls.
I think it's kind of chicken shit to say like, our hands are tied. Technically, the math says this is the player of the year.
Well, would you rather just the media vote on it? The players had, I mean,
I don't know. It's we're gonna get to some rankings talk, and I think
I feel like
rankings are good, and I applaud anybody who's willing to put their name on the take. So
Randy, I thought you were an eye test
that's
guy.
what I'm saying. I know.
well, I do like the eye test, but there's also something to like, hey, here's the player of the year criteria at the start of the year, and
Randy
whoever
thinks there should
amasses
be
the
an
most points, that's your player of the year.
he
Period.
thinks there should be an MVP award and and a best golfer award.
Yeah,
There should-
exactly.
yeah, we could do some type of like spirit award or
Maybe we could try that. Maybe we should pick our own, NLU AP Player of the Year.
yeah, you don't have to recognize it.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
can
that's maybe more what I was scratching at. Anyways,
sure.
sorry. Continue.
No, I was just gonna go on the 7 wins this year. A good stat here. TC, do you know the last LPGA player to win 7 times in a season? This is your girl,
Annika?
Yanni Sang,
Oh.
in 2011.
God, she
Man.
was bad. She was such
Yeah.
a menace.
Yeah. Still
It sounds
playing.
like she could have been
Well,
Hasn't made a
could
cut
also
in a
been bad.
minute.
yeah, potential allegations on how she
Alleged.
got there, but I was very alleged.
The last American to win 7 times in one season. Do you guys know?
No clue.
Julie Inkster.
Good guess. You're fishing in the right waters.
Pat
Beth
the
Beth
Bat?
Daniel.
Daniel.
Beth Daniel, 1990, 34 years since
Golly.
an American woman's won 7 times. So that's the season for Nelly. She gets one more official start. Next week is the CME LPGA Tour Championship. That will include 60 women, the top 60 on the season-long race, and they're wiping the slate clean. That's the big difference from the PGA Tour, where all you got to do is make the Tour Championship, and everybody starts level for the biggest non-major purse on the women's side. So,
What, $4 million or something? Or
I
$2 million?
think it's somewhere around there. Yeah,
It was
somewhere
$1 million,
between
and I know
3
they
and 4.
juiced it more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys will get into this on the LPGA pod big, but how do you feel about that? I mean, Nelly, like the math says she's the player of the year, of course. Does that get your goat a little bit that somebody can swoop in and, especially in the women's game that kind of can be starved for some big purses. Somebody can swoop in and have a good week and kind of take all the candy.
Yeah, a little bit. I think where I net out though, I'd rather do it the way the LPGA does it than the
Net
the
Tour
handicap
Championship.
start, the Net Tour Championship. Yeah, you'll get winners like last year. Amy Yang, nothing against her. She actually won a major earlier this year, but she kind of came from didn't have a great season and won the Tour Championship. But I also think because on the women's side they're not playing for near as much money week to week, you can get some women that you make that top 60 and you have a great 4 days. It can be a real I hate to sound cliche, it can be a real life changer
Totally.
in terms of
No, for sure.
in terms of the purse. So the top 60 was one of the big storylines this week. Guys, I can report Carlota Saganda gets in on the number at number 60. She finished tied for 14 this week. So
She rules. I'm in on. I appreciate
Guys,
her doing her
I
whole.
was watching earlier this afternoon. Pace of play already an issue out there, and it's
bad.
They got to do something. Like
bad.
not just with Carlotta, just generally speaking. LPGA is even worse than PGA Tour as far
I
as
really think the LPGA should zig and put in a shot clock and like be the change everybody wants to see in pro golf. Set it aside from the different tours. Anyway, that's a different conversation. Carlotta knocks out Steph Kiriakou. She falls to 62nd. Gabby Lopez is going to be your first woman out. She finished 61st. Other names, Alexa Pano, Austin Kim, a couple of younger American players just miss out as well. And then some bigger names that weren't really in the hunt this week and will not be at the Tour Championship. Allison Lee, who was a Solheim Cupper, Hanako Shibuno, Ashley Buhai, Anna Nordquist, Georgia Hall, Cheyenne Knight. None of them will be in Naples next week. Let's see. The only other thing.
Georgia missing, it's kind of crazy, huh?
I know that's kind of some bleak names to be on the outside looking in.
The only other things I want to mention this week, guys, the top 100 is also a very important cutoff this week. If you're inside the top 100, you get full status for the LPGA Tour in 2025. If you're outside of that top 100, you're going to final qualifying of LPGA Q Series. And so Wei Zhang, who was one of the women that finished tied for second this weekend, that propelled her up inside the top 100. So an excellent tournament for her. And TC, a girl that we've always kept our eye on, Bianca Pagdananen, moves up to 92nd. She finished tied for 20 this week, so she'll keep her card. So kudos to them. Guys, the Aon risk reward. Gino Titicum, we can call it now. Gino Titicum will win the Aon risk reward challenge.
Did she sit out this week to protect? I think she
may
did.
have.
I don't think she teed it up this week.
She definitely didn't play.
And I think that's the definition, Randy, of a perverse incentive.
That's right.
Or the game within the game, you know?
Yeah.
$1 million.
That happened either last year or 2 years ago.
I think. Yeah.
A South African woman that like $1 million was a big deal. She did the same thing.
It just feels like
Gino,
the obligatory spot where TC and I call for them to bring back the Kodak challenge.
Yeah. So Gino wins the 1 million there. Yeah, that's about it. I think later in the E9 we're going to talk some Caitlyn Clark and maybe a couple other LPGA topics. But the big story, guys, Nelly Korda, 7th win this year, puts at least one explanation point on what had been a dominant season.
I want to shout out LC, Lauren Coughlin. Tough first round, shot 72, and then finished 67, 67, 67. Trending going into the Naples event.
And she was out there with the champagne, I think, for Nelly too, right? Isn't that what Casey was saying? That's a fun,
teammates.
Again, that's kind of one of those, show her that photo 2 years ago. Probably wouldn't have believed it. It's great. Thank you, Randall. An excellent week on the LPGA. Pumped to watch next week. Might be a life changer. Who knows?
That's right.
Speaking of life changers, I'm suspending all irony, and I'm saying this was an awesome story on the PGA Tour this week.
It was.
Rafa Campos, 6 days after becoming a brand new dad, flies to Bermuda and becomes a PGA Tour winner. He wins by 3 at the Butterfield Bermuda Championship. I got to say this because I just can't get it out of my brain. I'm sure you guys know this. We all have a shared calendar that we've all used for the last, decade. And Neil, one time, he just has a propensity for putting stuff on the calendar just to hold the dates. And he had this, I don't know what he was going to do with this Bermuda trip one time. And it just said Bermuda ? And we just, every single time this tournament's on TV, every single time I see the leaderboard, all I can think is just Bermuda ? And anyways, it's
very meta though, of why does this tournament exist? Maybe he's asking the really important questions. Right?
It seems like Neil might have been working an off books deal too. I'm not sure what was
a little personal appearance.
What was going on there? Yeah.
Which I'll also say, as far as new fathers go this week, I mean, Solly and Hannah, congrats to them. They welcomed the birth of twins earlier this week. He didn't fly to Bermuda and win a golf tournament.
No, he will not be getting his tour card next year. Full-throated congratulations to Los Solomons for tripling the size of their dependency.
They welcome P.
That's right. Patrick and Sadie.
Pat.
The happy, healthy twins in the Solomon household. So congratulations to them. Rafa Campos he joins Chichi Rodriguez as the only Puerto Rican players to win on the PGA Tour. What does that mean for him, TC? He has never played a major championship, but now he gets into the Masters thanks to this win. He was number 147 on the all-important FedEx Cup rankings coming into this week. 2 tournaments left. Knew that he was going to be right on the edge of getting his tour card for next year. Knew he was going to be right on the edge of the birth of his daughter. Him and his wife decided to induce labor on Monday, had the kid. He flew to Bermuda, won the goddamn golf tournament, secured his card through 2026. It's just an awesome story. He broke down in tears. It's, I don't know. It's the kind of thing.
Great interview.
Great interview. And it's just, I don't know. It's the kind of thing that we can debate until the cows come home, the merits of shrinking field sizes and all of those things. And, people love to point to these types of stories as kind of the good things that happen on the PGA Tour. And I am not here to disagree with that. Although I will disagree that, we can still trim the fields greatly, and I think we'll still have great stories like this.
Like
But
we're still gonna have the margins. Like, all
exactly.
right, maybe he's 107 instead of 147
Yeah.
going in, and he still has to get inside the top 100.
Uh, he also missed an 18-inch putt, number 14, which was rad
Oh,
and
so sick.
a highlight I recommend people seek out. A couple other notes from Bermuda ? Wes and George Bryan played together in round 1 and round 2. Our guy George missed the cut, unfortunately. But Wes made 2 eagles on Saturday, shoot 61, tied the tournament record. That's some serious
some
shooting.
crazy conditions.
Yes. We'll get to the conditions in a second. This was an awesome watch at times this week. Wes was projected to move inside the all-important top 125 after that 61, but had a tough Sunday 74. So now he's back outside. So he kind of winds up where he started the week at number 128. As far as a couple of the movers, we only have one tournament left on the PGA Tour, the 47th event of the year, the RSM Classic at Sea Island next week. Practically a home game for TC. I think
I'm going up there tomorrow.
he might be up there if you're someone who
Yeah.
lives in the greater 904 area. You might see TC stalking those grounds with his flip flops on, riding his bike up to the bike parking at RSM. Rafa Campos obviously moves up from number 147 to number 80. TC, our guy Adrian Dumont de Chissart, moves up
Huge.
33 spots to number 142. Maybe keep an eye on
Good
him.
to see some signs of life from him.
Yes.
That guy was
Tough
dead.
season.
Andrew Novak finishes second, moves up 23 spots to number 70. Little maybe outside shot at getting into the Siggies for next year. Sam Ryder moves up inside the top 125 to number 122. Just because we got to do our due diligence here, a couple of the guys that are on the edge. So, of course, we've explained it like 800,000 times, but I still had to look it up today. As far as the FedEx Cup fall works, so everybody who was in the top 50 after the Tour Championship is locked, but numbers 51 through 60 will get into the Siggy events next year. Just to kind of highlight who's on the bubble there, Ben Griffin is number 58, Team Rose is number 59, and the Soldier Boy Kevin Yu is number 60. So those guys are currently in, but knocking on the door, Nico Echeverria, number 61, Lucas Glover of TGL fame, number 62, Jake Knapp, number 63, Minwoo Lee, number 64. By the way, you can't be as Instagram famous as Minwoo Lee if you're not even into the signature events, but that's a whole other conversation. And
Thank you.
you ride with me on? You feel me on that one, Big?
That was a
He's
President's
a
Cup
chef,
takeaway
though.
of mine. Yeah.
I agree. And Bo Hostler, number 65. So that's the one cutoff we're going to be watching next week. The other cutoff will be the top 125 list, which is, of course, your people who get, quote, a PGA Tour card, whatever the hell that means. They kind of change it every year. And, it means you're fully exempt. You're into all the fully exempt events. Just to paint a picture of how that looks, Joel Damon, currently number 121. We are projecting him on the bubble big with 14% of precincts reporting.
This counting is going to go late
We're
into the
projecting
night.
him currently on the bubble. Henrik Norlander, 122. Vince Whaley, nice week.
I feel like Henrik Norlander's lived the last 6 years at 120, from 122 to 129.
Might be like a data entry glitch. Like he might just be stuck at 122. Vince, don't call me Susie Whaley, 123, up 10 spots this week. This was an interesting one. Daniel Berger, DB Straight Vibin, is number 124 and is like, that's not like a at home on the boat 124. That's like he's playing this week in Bermuda, finished like 60 something. So he will be on the bubble. Hayden Springer is Mr. 125 right now. That means on the outside looking in, Dylan Wu, S.H. Kim, Wes Bryan, Kevin Tway, Matt Wallace, Alejandro Tosti, Pearson Cootie, and our guy Taylor Montgomery. That kind of rounds out the bubble boys. So
ZB's I think he's 123 now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That might have been shaken. I think things might have shaken up as
Okay.
new shit might have come to light. TC.
Yeah, he shot 76, 65, almost made the cut after a 65 there. But yeah, he's got to play well this week.
rounding out our Bermuda question mark news and notes, our guy Justin Lauer, a week after finishing runner up, finishes T5, tough 4-putt to kind of undo his chances. He's up to number 68 in the FedEx Cup, a little outside chance at those Siggy events. TC, I got to throw this one at you. Lauer had some complaints. I know absolutely your guy, our
Been
guy.
complaining a lot lately. I feel like he's wound a little tight right
He's
now.
been very chippy. I think he's trying to get into the big dog events. They keep moving the fucking goalposts on him on what's a PGA Tour card, what's not, what his schedule is. But yeah, just very chippy. And to set the context here, if you did not see any of this, the wind was fucking awesome, like gusting almost
It's
into
like
like
Bahamas from a few
50.
years ago.
And I just can't sum up, like, this event is just so weird to watch it. Like, at times it looks like Hawaii, like the most beautiful place you've ever seen. At times it's like looks like they're playing at like Windsor Park in Jacksonville.
Like the
DC.
pink flags. And
Yeah, it's just like everything's dormant and like there's just kind of
not
nothing
really
really
there.
going on. It's just super weird. But then they
Kind of like, why?
Truman showed the wind up to like 50 miles an hour, and these guys are just like half of them are just like blowing it into hazards. Half of them like won't putt, and then a bunch of guys are like hitting just colossal golf shots, like flighting stuff down. Like the Rafa
Yeah.
Campos thing is an ad read, but that is 100% what happened. I mean, these
Like
guys are,
artistry.
yeah, it was sick. Even if the broadcast was like pretty soul crushing, and it's just Keytruda commercials like every 5 minutes on the 5 minutes. I mean, it was just fucking miserable. It's the only time I've wanted to watch golf in like
What's
weeks.
Keytruda for? What's the
Who could say?
I think that's the Ozempic. Is that the Ozempic? They're
I'm not sure.
the alternative,
see.
maybe.
It might be. There's another one about A1C and another one about
No,
like sporting goods.
No, it's to treat a kind of cancer called
Oh.
head and neck squamous cell cancer.
not,
So
not to diminish
which
that.
I
at
feel
all.
like
We
if you're
like that one.
if you have that kind of cancer, like I hope your doctor's giving you that medicine
For sure. I hope,
regardless.
I
You
know.
shouldn't have to see a commercial and just say, hey.
Yeah, or 1,400 commercials. There's another one about the detached retinas, about how basically your eyes are gonna
Is
fall
that
apart.
wet
The
A and
franchise
B?
had a detached retina a
Yeah,
couple of
it's
years
just,
ago.
I
Wouldn't
don't
wish
know,
that
man.
upon
I'm
anybody.
trying to just unsubscribe and have a cup of coffee and watch Bermuda. And it's just
You and RFK both.
constant.
RFK's trying to help you out here.
Exactly. It's just constant reminders of my mortality as I watch this. Anyways, the little like 3-minute spurts of golf that I did watch in between commercials was rad. And I would, it's a bummer that it wasn't more enjoyable to watch, but it's neither
You
here
want me
nor
to go
there.
through Lauer's quote?
I do. That was all to somehow set the context for this here.
So to start things out at the beginning of the week, Lauer, he gave a great quote about he got emotional and said, "Hey, I work so hard. This means so much to me." The tour clipped that where like the second half of his quote at the end of last week was like, "I hate these changes." Like I'm so pissed. Da, 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 da. Which like I don't blame him. Like hey,
Sure.
but it's also like there's always going to be a margin there, right? Which I just thought that was a little dishonest from the tour. Maybe Sean Zach called him out on it. So then after Saturday, after the crazy wins on Saturday, he says, then the last, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I don't think that's golf, if you ask me. But the balls were going backwards in the air. And I realized that a lot of people had to play in it, but I don't think it's fair, if that makes sense. He continued, I think it's a top 10. I think if it's a top 10 or a top 15 player in the world that was here and they wanted to stop, I think the rules officials would have said, yeah, we'll stop. When anyone else in the field, we would have said, I don't feel comfortable playing in this. We would have been told tough and to proceed with the round. So that's how I feel about it.
Man, this quote is just such a like
not
like
good.
Justin, you're almost 100% right about that probably. Like I'm sure those officials are like, dude, it's the 46th event of the year. What do you think we're going to a fucking Monday finish? Like hit your putt, man.
It's like getting from Bermuda to
Right.
Brunswick, Georgia is like not the easiest thing
Right.
in the world to begin with. And they didn't finish on Thursday. They didn't finish on Friday, which proves the whole like the fields are too freaking big anyway, right?
So I deeply sympathize with him, but I'm also like
It's an entertainment product.
it's kind of funny. Like I don't know. I don't know. There's something kind of
Everybody was playing in
humorous
it. It was on a Saturday where like it's not like they're in different waves. Like all the guys that are in contention are playing at the same time. too.
Also,
you know?
Lauer's I think he's a real golfer, you know?
He
He's a low
is.
spin guy, shapes his ball around that is
Yeah.
real golf, man. Like that kinda I don't know.
He's
I
got
think
dog mentality,
what we
you know?
see
He
week to
needs to.
week is not real golf. Like this was real golf. Randy,
Yeah.
you feel me?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a bad quote from our guy Justin. I hate that. I was more curious. I pulled up the OWGR, the crooked OWGR, and I'm trying to figure out like if Russ Henley is in Bermuda and Russ Henley's had enough.
Where's the cutoff?
Yeah, who's got like who?
Who's
Where's
got
that cutoff
juice?
for who's got the juice to get this place stopped?
Do you
I
think
just
there's
don't
a
think.
single guy in the field this week in Bermuda who had enough juice?
No
No
way.
way.
I think that
Rose,
was Lauer's
maybe?
point. But like I'm looking at Russ Henley, he's 14th in the world. I don't think he's got the juice.
That's really interesting.
I think maybe like Pat Cantlay. Do you think Pat Cantlay can get an event stopped?
Oh, for sure. He's a board member.
Okay.
Team Rose was not in the field, by the way, TC. I think
Okay.
I'm pretty sure
I feel like Toasty
Henley
could get there.
Henley
He
also
could probably
not
get it stopped, but not
not
like
in the field.
Not
maybe for his
I might be
actions or his
charges
behavior.
too.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I saw Max Grazerman was he the highest ranked player in the field, or was that last week?
Which I will say, like,
I think that was last week, actually.
setting the wind aside, it's a pretty unserious golf course.
It honestly looks like kinda sick to play. I kinda wanna go see it just 'cause I can't believe my eyes a little bit when I'm watching it as a PGA Tour event, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's a weird one. I don't know. I recommend watching it just for pure spectacle, but
the Butterfield.
I can't say it. I don't know. It's a strange it's a pretty irregularly shaped piece of our FedEx Cup season puzzle, I guess, but
I don't think Wyndham Clark can get an event stopped.
I agree.
I don't think he's got
blow
the
It might only
juice.
be
I
like
don't even think Little Colin could get an event
it might
stopped.
only be Scotty. Scotty and Rory might be the only guys that could get it
Yeah.
stopped.
And maybe Pat.
Maybe. Maybe just because, they he'd sue him or, like, figure out how to stage
CJ
some sort of
might be
hostile
able to.
takeover.
Or, Kuchar.
That's true. Kuchar might just lay on the
Who
ground, just refuse to move. Alright, I think that concludes our competitive, golf coverage for the week. Guys, if you will allow me a moment to talk about our friends at Foresight. If you subscribe to the NLU newsletter, you probably saw that our friends at Foresight have kicked off their holiday sales. If you didn't see that in the newsletter, Randy, you got to subscribe. Get yourself involved.
No, I saw it.
Okay,
I'm
good.
very subscribed.
I
Yeah.
love it. Fully subscribed.
I'm doubly
I
subscribed.
can't subscribe anymore.
I'm subscribing with all kinds of crazy emails. Neil thinks we got all these followers. They're
Neil's
mostly
got me
just
making
Randy.
burners. Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
subscribing everywhere.
These November promotions are usually Foresight's best deals of the year. For example, right now, the Foresight Sports Quad Max is available for a whopping $4,000 off. That is significant. That's a significant deal.
Savings.
You have seen the Quad Max in a ton of our content. It has all the data parameters you need to work on your game, to teach, and to fit. It's got unmatched accuracy and incredible ease of use. Push one button, set it down, you are ready to go. You can also use it. It's becoming that time of year, Randy. I know you're getting some snow out there. You can use it to power a golf simulator. Speaking of which, if we have heard that if you're in the market for one of those, you should stay tuned to the rest of Foresight's upcoming holiday deals, which will include savings on their Sim in a Box packages. Foresight Sports is the benchmark. They set the standard for how all launch monitors are measured. Check out their holiday deals and their new military and first responder program through id.me at foresightsports.com. That is foresightsports.com. Guys, we've arrived at the main event. TC, you've been frothing to talk about this. It is, of course, the new golf.com top 100 golf courses in the United States list. I don't think we're going to go through all 100, but we're going to get into it a little bit. Before we get into some of the methodology and some of the, the specifics, Randy, I want to ask you first, where do you stand on rankings? Are you for it? Are you against it? Do they make the world better? Do they make the world worse?
I'm a little bit in both camps. I think they're wonderful for in-person, intimate group discussion. Okay. I'm picturing, hey guys, let's have a few beers, 19th hole. Let's argue about the course we just played. Should it be, ranked here? Should it be ranked there? Should we compare it to this course? Love that, right? Love that. Where I get a little out is, if for instance we take to the public sphere and I start, very forcefully saying, guys, this course should be ranked here. This, like, it needs to be. You just lose me because it's all subjective at the end of the day. It's like it feels like trying to rank pieces of art in an art museum, which I think can be fun in the right setting, and in the wrong setting, it just becomes tedious and stupid to me.
It's an extremely logical take that I think I would co-sign wholly. TC, you got anything to add or subtract from that?
No, I think it provides context, right? Just like the ball knowers, we did NFL uniforms, our favorite NFL uniforms. We did that ranking this week on the trap draw. Just provides context, tells you, it doesn't tell you how to think, might tell you what to think though a little bit, which I think I struggle with a little bit. I think there's three different rankings from the magazines. There's Golf Digest. I think that one's headed by Derek Duncan. There's this one headed by Rand Morissette. And then there's the Golf Week one, which is more split into like modern and kind of classic. Yeah. So I don't know. I have a lot of qualms with it. I think Rand overall has done a good job improving this list over the years. I think he's got a lot of his hand-picked acquaintances on that are into the same stuff on the panel as well. And then I think I one thing that I feel like it's my entire platform. I think new courses should have like a 3 to 5 year probationary period before they get put on
I like that.
there.
I would happily join that caucus, TC.
I like that as well. That's a good take. We're going to get into some of the new courses that kicked the goddamn door down and broke their way into this ranking. Before we do, I think it's fun. What you said, Randy, I totally agree with. And what I would love is to be sitting in that metaphorical bar that you described and to see a list of TC's definitive top 100 rankings and a list of Randy's definitive top 100 rankings and discuss why they're different. And I think that is a just fantastic exercise, right? It's like, man, I don't have to be an expert on everything, but I'm an expert on how I feel. These are my top 100 courses. I just think it's like totally fraught and silly and ridiculous and hilarious when you try to like do it as a group and you try to come up with some methodology that you pretend is fair and is gonna like
Also, everybody hasn't played
everything.
all the courses.
Right.
Like that's the thing. It's like like DJ, you're a lot of the courses you've played keep falling out.
I know, it's brutal, man. Like, there were 11 courses that fell out. I think I'd played,
You're the
like,
killer.
5 or 6 of them. I know, it's really it's sabotaging my number is everything, Randy. I mean, that's my identity is how many of these top 100 I've played. And, it's just it's getting tough, but
I would like the rankings, TC. You were talking about, 3 different rankings that come out by different magazines, and there are others too.
Yeah.
I want to see somebody take some swings. I feel like there's too much agreement on the top, let's call it 10 to 12 courses. And I'm like, why does that have to be the case? I get that they're nice, but like objectively, those are all in agreement that like the 10, 12 best. I don't know if I get there.
that's why I think the older I get, the more I love the Doak confidential guide. I mean, I know TC's got his Doak hat on right now.
You
Uh,
know what? I don't
but I
have my
think that's
Doak hat
just
on. I have my confidential guide right here. I travel everywhere
like
with
his
it.
rule book.
I have the other four volumes back there. I will say on Rand's thing, he's got like a 147 custodians of the game list. I think he's done a really good job with that. Of like it's kind of setting aside, hey, this is the stuff that I like about golf, or that is the soul of the game, and pushes architecture forward and all of that. And
Agree.
because
If it's skewed, I feel like it's kinda skewed in the direction that I prefer to be skewed in, I guess,
yes,
is the best way to say it. And to get into their methodology a little bit, so they have this is from golf.com. They have 127, quote, "handpicked design aficionados." I think their handicaps rank from, like, +5 to 15 or something like that. So it skews to be better players. I think there's some architects on there. There's, some probably golf course developers on there. There's some people who have just kind of seen everything on there. There's some journalists on there. So I don't really know who's on the panel, but it is a panel of quote design aficionados.
Which, do we need all design aficionados? That's
That's
another
interesting.
point I raise.
We should get you on there, Randy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What about some people that,
I played 4 courses this
look
year.
look for other things?
Yeah.
Do
No,
they have a sweet centerline tree
it
somewhere,
kind of seems like it would follow the rest of society. I'm sick of all these fucking experts telling me what they
Is
think.
there art
Why don't
around
we
the
get some
course?
people who don't know what they're talking about on there?
Well, is
For
there a
representation.
cemetery? Some
What
of us
about the
look for other
temple
stuff.
hole?
What
Right?
about the benches out there? Yeah.
So the way that they do it is they put every course that might potentially end up in the top 100 on a big list. They have a bunch of buckets, and then they have all these people essentially assign things into a bucket. So they say, quote, if our panelists considered the course to be among the top 3 in the US, they tick to that first column. If they believe the course to be among numbers 4 through 10, they tick that column, followed by 11 through 25, 26 to 50, and so on, out to 250 plus, and even a column for remove. And then points get assigned to each bucket, and essentially it's like a ranked choice thing from there. So with that said, Randy, here is the all-important top 20. Number 1, Pine Valley. Number 2, Cypress Point. Number 3, Shinnecock Hills. Number 4, National Golf Links of America. Number 5, Oakmont. Number 6, Augusta National. Number 7, Sandhills. 8, Marion. 9, Pebble Beach. 10, LACC North. 11, Fishers Island. 12, Chicago Golf Club. 13, Pinehurst number 2. 14, Riviera. 15, Friars Head. 16, Prairie Dunes. 17, Seminole. 18, Wingfoot West. 19, Pacific Dunes. 20, Oakland Hills South. I mentioned earlier there were 11 courses that made their either an entry or re-entry into the top 100 list. 4 of those were renovations. The renovation at Interlaken moved it to number 73. The renovation at Medina number 3, which I need to go see.
I just don't understand how that many people played Medina number 3 because it just opened up like 8 to 10 weeks before the winter, right?
A good question. It is up to number 74, up 109 spots from where it was previously.
And it looks really good. Like I'm not like
Right.
casting judgment on it.
Just
OCM
ask
looks
the
like they did a
question.
great job. Yeah.
Fox Chapel, number 82, and Philadelphia Cricket Club squeaks in at number 98. 4 of them, TC, this is where I really am interested to hear what you think, are brand new builds. The Lido, the biggest splasher, all the way up to number 30 in its first year of operation. Old Barnwell, number 51. Ladera, which is the ultra mega super private golf course that like 3 people a week play out in Palm Springs, is number 87, and Pinehurst number 10 makes its debut at number 88. So that means there were 11 courses that fell out. Pour one out for these ones, Randy. Glens Falls, Congaree, Streamsong Blue, Calusa Pines, Prairie Club, Davenport, Brookside, Sheep Ranch, Sand Valley, Palmetto, and Pinehurst number 4. Better luck next year. Build some new greens, guys. I don't know what to tell you. This is the last thing, and then I will stop rambling for a second here. I really enjoyed this. Golf.com isolated the ballots by type for a couple of these. So they took all the international raters, for instance, and looked at what their rankings looked like. They had just a couple fun notes from that. They had Chicago Golf Club at number 6, like way up from number 12, which is where it was when you had the Daft Americans ranking stuff. They had TC. I feel like this is gonna be close to your heart. Palmetto and Tobacco Road did not make the top 100 overall, but the international rankings did have it inside the top 100. And again, if you need any question why TC is rooting for the Europeans, they had Pebble Beach at number 18 instead of number 8. I think a lot of that was just like greens are too small, winds are too high, it gets a little unplayable,
Which
yada, yada.
all right, so in that case, they had it at number 18 instead of number 8, and it came in at number 9. So that just shows you how few internationals there are or how much weight they're pulling on the panel, right?
That's not wrong.
They split out all the architects on the panel, so like the actual architects themselves who had a vote. A couple interesting ones. They had Lawsonia in my dear Wisconsin here as high as number 44, which is very sick. I love Lawsonia, but like top 50 golf courses in the country that's heady territory. They had Wild Horse in there, TC, at number 85, which I know is another one of your favorites.
Yeah. I think that's some of the best greens in America.
And they had the crucial number 1 spot. Instead of going to Pine Valley, went to Cypress Point. I saw a video from Tom Doak on golf.com diving into some of this. I don't know if you guys saw that one, but basically explaining like if the everyday golfer had access to Pine Valley, like they would quit the game and hate it because it's so hard, which was,
Splash World.
I think, kind of an interesting, lens.
That's why we can't let regular people play.
We just
They're
simply
doing us
can't.
all a favor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're protecting them from themselves. And then the last little breakout, they had the plus handicaps. I just wanted to put this one in there for Solly, who says that Pack Dudes is just so easy for the plus handicaps. The plus handicaps voted Bandon Trails over Pack Dunes, which Pack Dunes is what, like number
19.
19
Yeah.
in the country.
Yeah.
And they had Bandon Trails above it, which I stand with our plus handicaps on that one. So that's a lot of me rambling. TC, I want to throw it to you. What are the most egregious crimes on this list? Who's your task force coming after first?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I like Old Barnwell. So like I've played 3 of the 4 new, like brand new courses on there. I haven't played Ladera. I've pioneers like you and I played
Which would have been
Pioneers
sick. Yeah.
10. Yeah. I
Like the
played
Apple guys that like built their own course.
it's a lemon grove or whatever. up
No, I
there.
mean like Apple.
Oh, Eddie Q. Yeah, yeah.
Boats. Yeah.
Yeah, and Irving Azoff. Yeah, but played Old Barnwell. I think Old Barnwell debuting at what 51 is like whoa. I think it's a cool golf course. I like it a lot. I think it still needs to grow in spots. I think there's a couple things that need to be changed. I think there's a little bit of a love fest going on for Blake Conant and Brian Schneider right now. But again, I think it's just like, hey, like let's wait 2 or 3 years so people can play it and formulate opinions and all of that stuff. It feels like the thumb on the scale of this one was quite heavy. But and then no Tree Farm there either, which like I don't think Tree Farm should be in the top 100 at this point. It's like an incomplete thing. Like it needs to be, we should incentivize people to build a great long-term product,
Yeah.
not get on the list right away. The one that always sticks out to me, man, it's Aronimink. I don't think Aronimink's a top 200 course in the country. And I just like straight up cannot figure out how they keep that came in at 84th this year, down 3 spots. But Aronimink just doesn't do it for me. I find Baltimore Country Club wildly underrated. The 5 Farms course. I really, really like Baltimore Country Club. Old Elm, I think, is underrated as well. I think Monterey Peninsula, the Dunes course, I could go without that in the top 100. White Bear Yacht Club down 15 spots, and they've done like a bunch of great
It's
work
so
lately.
it's so
Doesn't make any
It's
sense.
so sick. Like truly, that's what's so funny is just like these pieces of earth that like are not either like
They're just
not
sitting there.
they're
Yeah.
either not changing or like yeah, of course, like these clubs are like always kind of getting a little
Yeah.
better probably or doing the right stuff. It's
Like
like yeah,
Ridgewood
sorry,
down
man.
11
You guys
spots.
are plummeting. I don't know what to tell you. Get it
Ridgewood's
together.
been there since 1928. It's 96 years old. or whatever. Yeah, sorry
Imagine just
guys.
the members.
Nanea
The,
up 8 spots. Moraine down 9 spots.
the members just waking up like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
man? What
I
are
really want to see Hollywood Golf Club in New Jersey. That one's sick. Randy Old Mac 79th
Hmm.
on there. I think an egregious omission. Colorado Golf Club not in the top 100.
Yeah, man, you guys raved about that.
I think Colorado Golf Club is like a top 50 golf course in the country. I think, gosh, we've got, I think Scioto. I haven't played the redo, but that's probably a little bit overrated. I think Pasatiempo is underrated, but we'll see. I'm assuming this isn't their full renovation. What else? I think Muirfield Village is probably a little overrated. I think
Oh.
Kiowa, I think Oak Hill, Bethpage. Yeah, I don't know. I think Valley Club's underrated. Randy, I know you'll agree with me. I think Pinehurst number 2 should be a top 10 course in the country.
See, that's where
Personally.
that's where this gets tough because I'm so glad you said that. Okay, now you got to kick one out. Like what? Like which one are you taking out?
Out of the top
Well, he's
10?
gonna kick
Well, I
Pebble
would
out.
kick
Valley?
Pebble out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know?
Randy, what
Um,
was your kind of any initial thoughts or anything you saw that was really high on the list that you were pumped?
TC just alley-ooped me here. Valley Club 1 falling 9 spots. Like, huh? What?
Good doctor. Sorry, man. Play better.
Yeah.
Not a vote.
Yeah. I've been
Who wants to
fortunate
go to
enough to
Santa Barbara, man? I'm sorry.
I've
Just
been fortunate enough to
passe.
play that a few times. Like It being specifically behind Muirfield Village is a disgrace. That is my biggest crime. I
Yeah.
A 10-round split between Valley Club and Muirfield Village. I'm going 10-0. Like, it's not even a question which one I'd rather play.
All right, I want to ask.
DJ, what do you think about the Lido at
So
30?
I had a question on here that was, kind of like what were you most pumped to see as high as it was? And honestly, I picked the Lido. And while I respect everything you're saying about the first year things, and actually I would probably like co-sign that.
Yeah.
Uh, I played the Lido for the second time. TCU, you and I played it the first time. What was that, like midsummer or something, late May?
Yeah, that was like early June. Yeah.
And, I kind of my mind was in a pretzel a little bit. It was a
Yeah.
lot. It was very overwhelming. I didn't really know where I was going. I didn't totally see like, I didn't really understand, like, okay, did we need to do this or did we not need to do this? And then the second time I went back and played it, like, God, I had such a fun time. And it was like, the shots just get so much more thrilling. You can tell how much more of a puzzle it is to try to uncover a lot of those bunkers that are, the first time around, you're like, oh, cool, there's a blind bunker there. Sick. Like, I
Yeah.
guess I'm dead on this hole too. You start to actually be able to, move your chess piece around a little bit better. And it was really, really fun. It's a massive swing for Sand Valley and Tom Doak and Brian Schneider and all of those guys. Like, it's the story's very cool in recreating something from the past. It's a lot of like, I was kind of joking earlier, but it's a lot of like experts in the space just doing something because they think it should exist, and it's like, yeah, we'll sell some houses and some founding memberships, and I'm sure everybody will make some dough on it too. But it's like, I don't know, it feels like something that is such a massive net positive that it exists, and the fact that it was recognized as, a top 30 golf course in the country is,
Yeah.
yeah, it's I
There were
might not
people saying it was way too low.
I
Like if this was
that's what
allegedly the best golf course in the world, like 30 is too low for this, you know?
which is fun. It's fun to have the argument
Yeah.
on both sides, but I don't know, that was kinda my one that I was like, "Hell yeah." I don't know if I agree or disagree, but I'm glad that they're doing it, Randy, to your point. I'm
Yeah.
glad they're taking a swing. It's not like massaging things going up one spot or down one spot. It's like that's kind of a Kool-Aid man, like, blowing the wall out and just, making their presence known.
I'm very excited to play that course whenever I do get up
Yeah.
there.
God, I think
It's
That's
you
cool.
will love it.
I really
yeah.
liked it. I think Congaree falling out's interesting.
It
I think
is.
Congaree's a really good golf course. You know, kind of about like I haven't been to Brookside or Davenport, but those both of those are classic designs with cool greens. I tend to
TC, can
think,
I can
yeah,
can I get you
yeah,
triggered here a little bit?
yeah,
Sorry. One of my other ones that I'm like, I Baltusrol and Congressional
yeah.
being Baltusrol's ranked 42nd, Congressional's being 61st. I've seen both of those courses. I don't know, man. They're just I'm wondering like who those are for. Like
Totally
who
agree.
goes there and it's just like, dude, this is it. This is golf, man. Especially when you kind of compare it to these courses around them.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I think Ohoopee at 44 and Congaree not ranked.
Yeah,
Like
it feels
those two are that feels off to me, right? Eastward Ho, I know they're doing a big the Ho exclamation point. They're doing a big renovation right now. I think that one's gonna shoot up once they're done with that. I think that's criminally underrated. Like I've never seen Pikewood. Never, I haven't played the honors since they redid it a few years back, but I've played 57 of the top 100. And I've played I mean I feel like I have a decent grasp on kind of what we're looking at here. I've played 19 of the top 26 and like I really don't have that many issues with the top 30ish.
yeah.
It's just kind of that middle meat area.
Which is, I think, where it gets that's where it gets fun, where it's just,
Yeah.
it's a lot of weird preferences and a lot of, I don't know, you kinda throw those in the boggle box and, shake it up. You don't really know how they're gonna fall out, which is the one thing I think is interesting about this list and, like, pretty admirable. Again, if you're trying to get 120 whatever, 7 people, and get their opinions organized, like, it is interesting that the ones that fell out are, pretty consistent, like, list over list, right? I mean, it's looking at
Yeah.
this, it's like the former numbers 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and 100 like none of those moved up. They all fell out.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably the sign of at least some solid methodology or
Yeah.
immense groupthink. I'm not really.
Glens Falls looks really, really cool. That one's been on my list for a long time. Randy, have you played Cherry Hills
Yeah.
out there? What do you
Yeah.
think of that? Should that be top 100?
I don't think it would. Listen, it's a nice golf course.
But like,
I would rather
there's
play
plenty of
Colorado
nice
Golf
golf
Club.
courses in the
I would
top
rather play
200,
Colorado
right?
Golf Club. That's how
Yeah.
I'll answer that.
And then next year they come out with the World Top 100. Like they
Right.
do it every other year, and that's the one that there's some behind the scenes strings being pulled here and there, or at least there has been in the past.
Watch this
So,
space.
yeah.
You know, you were talking about the courses in the 90s, and one that I'm worried about is Kingsley. It came in at 99, but it's falling. I'm worried about the changes of ownership. I'm worried they lost their grass grower. But that golf course, if it's in good condition, if you're just going out to that golf course, like for me, that's golf course should be top 50.
Might need to
Like
get Kingsley on some Keytruda. You know, maybe
I
try some
just truly
experimental
believe
medications.
I truly believe that's a wonderful golf course.
I totally agree. That place whips.
That's why I really like the top, like the way Golf Week does it with the modern and the classic.
Yeah.
I think because you're almost evaluating two different things with some of these. And then I also think it's interesting with the just the way everything shakes out at Bandon too. Right.
And that's where I still have a problem, but I know we've covered that topic before. Right? You just can't convince me Pac Dunes is the best course out there.
DJ, question for you: Shore Acres or Chicago Golf Club?
I the last time, I forget if it was when the Golf Digest list came out or what it was, or maybe it was just like a random questionnaire Solly and I were doing to kill some time a couple months ago. I somebody said like, what's one in the top 20 that's overrated? And I'm like, oh great, that's like the least, it's like the least fun question to answer because you're gonna piss off somebody who's like dedicated
What's
their
the
whole life.
shittiest great golf course?
Yeah, to one place. And so I was like, oh my God, this place is so cool. It's such a masterpiece. I can't believe how good it is. Maybe, possibly a little, maybe Chicago Golf Club's just like a tiny hair overrated. Maybe, I don't know. And some of our friends there just have not let me hear the end of that. I just recently got a onesie for Charlie that says "My daddy hates Chicago Golf Club." Just really good stuff.
I sent him your address.
So good, so good. Like that's the that's the point of like the rankings though, right? Like that's the fun stuff. That's what I love. So anyways, personally, I've only played each of them once. I would need to play, we just simply can't call it TC. We'd have to play each one of them 200 more times. Personally, right now, I would pick Shore Acres, but I'm sure that if I played them each 100 times, I'm sure I would probably pick Chicago Golf Club, like many other people have. But I put this on the list for you guys. What's the one? I want to hear one course that's not in the top 100 that just really chaps your ass, Randy. You're not gonna be able to fall asleep because X golf course is not in the top 100.
A lot of different directions we could go. I settled on one that I actually have never even played.
Sick.
Yeah. But my guy TC's
That's
played
so,
it.
like selfless of you.
Well, and I just TC, he and I connect on a lot of this stuff, and for me, that's Chambers Bay,
Oh,
and for what it represents,
Yeah.
I everything I've seen, everything I've heard people say about it, like if that's not a top 100 course in the United States, I don't know what we're doing.
Well said.
I would actually disagree with you there. I think it's really, really good course.
Get out of my head.
I
Words
think it's probably in like the 100 to 125 range. It's a spectacular piece of property. I think there's enough not great holes there that kind of hurt it a little bit. There's some RTJ junior stuff, and, that I think Blasey would have done a little bit differently.
It's top 100 in the country, not necessarily in Washington.
No, but yeah, I think it's like, that's the thing. Like, it should be really freaking hard to be a top 100 course, right?
Yeah.
And I almost think there's just as many interesting courses in the top 200, like in that 101 to 200, as there are in those debates are almost more interesting because some of those courses have either less resources or not as great of a piece of land, and they've really, really drawn greatness out of a a mediocre piece of land, or
That's why
you know,
you start to see, like, the
you know,
architects, like, the
Aaron Hill
architect
should be in the
that
top 125,
yeah,
right?
that would be mine. I know I'm, like, Homer, Wisconsin guy, but that's the one that I'm like, "Man, that's, like, one of my favorite places on earth." It's just it hurts my heart that that's not in the top 100.
Yeah, and it's just weird to me that, like, I don't know, you go to like but like Randy, to your point, like Whistling Straits versus Chambers Bay, like I'd play I'd play Chambers Bay 10 times out of 10
Yeah.
for Whistling Straits.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, just some
there's
of
that.
these, like I said, what would get me more excited, playing Congressional Blue or Chambers Bay? Like, I would pick Chambers Bay. There's no question about it.
Yeah. All right, should we keep it moving?
Yeah,
Where
it's
did you guys?
and I do want to say too to people, like it's not like an affront that like, oh my God, we think your golf course is overrated. Like it's still one of the best courses in the country. It's a matter of opinion, and like you said, Deej, like stuff has to fall,
Yeah.
right? Like I think Essex and Myopia isn't it? Like I think looking at it as pairs of like little matches, like like Deej, do you think Milwaukee Country Club should be top 100 and Blue Mountain not?
Gosh, you're gonna really get me in trouble here, TC. I might pretend like my wireless connection went out. Uh, I fucking love Blue Mountain so much, but I think Milwaukee's
Better goalie.
better. Yeah.
Where did you guys find the 101 to 200? I could never
I don't think
actually.
they've come out with it yet.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Watch this
Which I
space.
think that's super interesting to see, like, all right, what just missed out and what really fell on that stuff. Because it seems like some of the Nicholas Herds and Fry die stuff is
Starting to age out a little
starting
bit.
to feel like period pieces a little
Yeah,
bit,
I know, which is
right?
interesting. That's why I love. Yeah, I just love. I don't know. Rankings are important. I think they're.
Yeah.
I think they kind of what you're just scratching at there, TC. Like they kind of just tell you what everybody feels in the moment and how things change. And spoiler alert, we're going to get into that a little bit in the one for the road tonight. We're going to look at
Yeah.
some old rankings and how things have changed.
Here's another one. Sorry, Sheep Ranch. Like Deej, I know you love Sheep Ranch,
Love it,
right?
love it.
Like,
But
I,
I'm also like, if you're trying to, it's impossible. Like that's golf
it's the
courses.
criteria,
Exactly. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But like that walk's got to count for something because that is the golf course.
That's where I know. It's kind of one of those that I'm like, yeah, no, I might want like my ashes spread there, but like I don't know if it's a great golf course. Which is such a
That's
sick,
kind of how I
like
feel.
such a
Yeah.
sick dichotomy. I love it.
Like, I mean, how about Sawgrass at 48, Bandon Dunes at 49?
That was one I
Yeah.
saw. That's just it feels gross
I
to me
think,
on a
but I
few
think
levels.
Sawgrass is actually a
I
better
love
golf
Sawgrass. I
course.
agree.
It's so good.
I agree.
Yeah.
I know. Sawgrass rules.
Whereas I think there's a couple bad holes at Sawgrass. I think there's more than a couple at Bandon, but also the highs are higher at Bandon
Yeah.
too. DJ, did you feel like Pinehurst number 10 was a top 100 course right off the bat there?
I loved our day out there. I had a great walk. I thought there were some very fun holes, and I would love to play the golf course again. But I did not think it was a top 100 golf course. I thought
And I think
there
some
were
of
some
that's like
sleepy
this,
stretches that kind of didn't really
yeah.
do it for me.
And I feel like some of it's going to get better with age
Yeah.
as the native comes in and is like, it's like right now they've got kind of that monkey grass that's just keeping the erosion under control and stuff. And I've seen pictures of it from this month and it looks radically different from
I'm sure.
when we played it a year ago, right? And it's like it's going to keep getting better and better. It's just, and like I personally I really like number 10. I thought it's clear cut second best course at
Mhm.
the resort. I'm not a huge fan of number 4. Like I don't think number 4 should have been sniffing it prior. So, yeah. And then Stream Song Blue dropping out.
Yeah, which is I don't know. That's interesting. It's just interesting when you see stuff from like the same architect kind of going in different directions, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
uh guys, well, we should get to whatever that metaphorical bar is, and we can continue this conversation for many, many
Okay.
more hours. But before we move on, a quick word from our friends at the Stack System. I have been doing the Stack for a while now. I don't know if I've actually played golf with either of you in a minute. Spoiler alert, your boy's nuking the golf ball right now. I just straight up,
Wow.
I don't know how to
Wow.
say it other than that. I'm not doing anything else well at all, but I am nuking the golf ball, and I can send over some charts. I can send over some screenshots from the Stack app. But the long and short of it for me is I what the Stack did was just really illustrate how terrified I was to swing the driver in the way that it is meant to be swung. I've had a two-way miss for a really long time, and I just, for some reason in my head, have always been like, oh, well, maybe if I just baby the driver, the two-way miss will go away. And in reality, the two-way miss just gets bigger when you do that. And so what the stack system really allowed me to do was like get in the garage, not have to worry about where the golf ball is going, and just swing hard the way that these the way that these drivers are designed to be swung.
Yeah.
And the curve of kind of my carry was pretty exponential. I mean, originally I was like swinging on the little launch monitor, and it's like, okay, with this swing speed, like you should carry the ball like 260. I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of about what it is. And then within like 5 or 6 sessions, all of a sudden it was like, okay, now you're carrying the ball like 285. And I was like, that can't be right. And I got my Foresight out and went to the range because I was like, there's no way that this can be accurate. Check it out. It was accurate. Your boy's mashing
Are
the
you
ball right.
serious?
Yes, it's been sick, guys.
I gotta get on my horse.
You do.
This is not good. I can't have the pie man dropping mail on me.
Which God, what a good phrase. So yeah, I don't know. Listen, guys, that's a focus group of one, but I'm hearing similar stuff.
May vary, but
Yeah,
I hope mine don't.
Exactly. I'm hearing similar stuff from other people. And I think the other thing is like I'm not playing a lot, just had a newborn. And what the stack does is I think it like at least keeps my driver swing consistent, like at least I'm getting in the garage and like practicing that move. And when I get over the ball, I just feel a lot more confident and comfortable in a way that I don't necessarily when I'm like, all right, now I need to hit this little like 3-finger 6-iron here that I haven't hit in 3 months. So I'm going out now and I'm not playing great golf, but I'm legitimately hitting it a lot farther and hitting more fairways just because I'm like, feel like my driver swing is a little more grooved. So
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of great stuff in the app. There's a lot of great literature out there. I know Solly's a massive evangelist on all of this as well. And if you are interested in dipping your toe in, go over to the stacksystem.com and use code NOLAYINGUP for 10% off. I think I don't know. I would struggle to think of a golfer that this is not going to help if that's what you're looking to get out of your game, is hitting more fairways and having some shorter clubs in. So
how about it?
TC, I've been talking a lot today on this podcast, and it is time to pass it off to you. We're going to do our vaunted E9 segment, which has been carefully curated. This is TC's E9. Please take it away.
Yeah, just a quick editor's note before we start. I'm going to take my doke hat off now. Last week we talked about something that you've lost that you wish you still had, and I said my Cypress Point, this the shitty little plastic ball marker from Cypress Point. I've had over a dozen people now reach out asking, saying, hey, TC, I've got a bunch of these I used to caddy there, or, I picked up a handful, and the retro ones. And so I just want to thank all those people who have reached out. And
Big,
I'm going
strong
to take
bed.
I'm going to take all of you up on it. And I'm just going to have a jar of these in my office.
If you see a couple of them start to hit eBay, you know who's behind it now.
But yeah, let's get it going, guys. I think first and foremost, we talked about it a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, when the Ryder Cup ticket prices were first announced. But Ryder Cup, vitriol, just absolutely apoplectic reaction season is upon us here. First of all, U.S. players will be paid. Our man James Corrigan over at the Telegraph reporting that each of the players will get around $400K for their talents on the U.S. side. No plans for the Europeans.
God, hell yeah, that's sick.
To get paid. And Rory said, "Hey, like I think this is one of the best." Paraphrasing here, but I think this is one of the best. 1 or 2 events in golf. Like I would pay to play in it, kind of thing. So, no word on whether the ass caps are getting paid though. So, Randy, are you bummed that the U.S. team is getting paid? Are you happy to be over on the Euro side with me? How are you feeling about this?
I'm happy to be on the Euro side, TC. I'm old enough to remember when these guys would do it for the love of the game. All right, they don't.
Your beloved Phil Mickelson and Duval weren't grumbling back in the late 90s.
Soul of the game, guys.
That's exactly right. I'm glad to see Rory. I think maybe the Ryder Cup should take Rory up on it. They're collecting dues from all the volunteers. Let's collect them from the Euro team.
That would
just
be
to hold
such a
your
sick
place,
block.
just to make
sure.
Hey,
Rory raises his hand and says, "You know what? I'm going to pay all of the volunteer fees."
That's an awesome idea. I love that.
right?
Yeah. The only interesting thing I think comes to my mind is just, I mean, 400K. God, it's wild to say like, oh, 400K doesn't mean much to these guys, but it makes making the US team more important. And I guess it would, Keegan won't be the guy to do this, but man, if I am Keegan, I'm like, I could pick myself and pocket some dough here along the way. I don't know. It just seems there might be some things come out eventually that way. Maybe, I
Maybe the
guess.
captain's being paid though too, right?
Mm.
Maybe he's being paid. Who knows?
So,
I don't know.
I just hope
yeah,
everyone gets paid. I think that's my biggest takeaway of golf for the last 6 years, man. Is just
hell
hope
yeah.
everyone gets the bag, dude. Randy?
Well, and the other side of this is like, okay, well, if you don't want the players to be played, it's like, what am I just rooting for like the TV execs and like the elites to just line their pockets with more money? That
Fake
like,
Seth Law.
yeah, certainly I'm not like in favor of that. So I don't know, man.
Well,
It's like,
on
why do we
that
have to
note,
think about this shit? It's such a bummer.
We should
yeah.
send the money
Well,
to
on that
Kingsley
note,
Club. Try to get that life
if you
support
think
program going.
if you think that's a bummer, here's the statement from the PGA of America on this ticketing fiasco. Match day tickets for the 2025 Ryder Cup have sold out as
Scoreboard,
expected,
bitches.
As
comma,
expected is such a good little like
demand was
taste it,
enormous,
bitches.
with more than 500,000 registrants entered in the random selection process and orders filled from across the United States and 47 countries around the world. There were more than 2,500 transactions from Europe. For registrants, a limited number of practice day tickets, September 22nd to 24th, remain available for purchase directly from the PGA of America. Once ticket inventory for match days sold out, fans accessing the PGA's Ryder Cup ticket sales portal were, in addition to the option to purchase remaining available ticket inventory for practice days, provided the opportunity to visit our partner SeatGeek to explore the secondary market. Explore the secondary
Explore this
market.
space. Steve, if anything jumps out at you.
Other
Please
than through
don't do it.
travel packages available via On Location, the PGA of America's official travel package provider for the 2025 Ryder Cup, PGA of America did not make any Ryder Cup ticket inventory available for initial purchase via any secondary markets. Which, if that's the case, based upon what we've seen, then why do a fucking lottery and do it for everybody that like basically just inflate the heck out of the number of people that you chose to the point where the people who quote unquote won the lottery then click through and tickets are already sold out. What's the point of the lottery?
Yeah, I have no idea. And I said there's just some concerning. I mean, none of this is like,
Email collection is the point of the
yeah.
lottery.
But no, but they already got the emails by entering the
Oh.
lottery. Like, just
You mean
choose
just
less people in
recognize
the
the amount
lottery.
of
Like,
people that
yeah, like, all right, if everybody who entered the lottery, even if the tickets are crazy, I'm just tired of hearing about like the supply and demand thing.
It's just
Because
economics, TC. The
it's like,
invisible
yeah,
hand.
like listen, I get the pricing stuff and all that, and the Delaware North people who are tied in with the governor advised them to set stuff up here. But like,
Imagine being a
if you're
fan of
telling
golf.
people
Fuck
that
this.
they won the lottery to purchase tickets directly from the PGA of America for the Ryder Cup, and then they click through and it takes them to like a SeatGeek thing with, tickets are 1,800, 2,000, $3,000 a pop, plus hundreds upon hundreds of dollars in fees. Like, that sucks. That's so shitty. And it's weird. Like, Shaq pointed this out. It sure seems like they sold one set at the retail price, then cried supply and demand and held a bunch to sell as resales to max out their revenue on the back end for twice as much or three times as much. It's just the bait and switching in the lottery feels deceitful. And then Shaq noted in his newsletter that StubHub has far more resale options available and at lower rates than SeatGeek. So, it's just disgusting to me.
I think the other thing I've said this a couple times now, but we'll continue to beat this drum until we get like some horrible 30-minute documentary piece that airs before the final round of the PGA Club Championship or something like that. But like, if you knew where like the dough was going, I just feel like this whole thing like is a lot easier to swallow, right? Because
Yeah.
like the natural comp is Augusta. right? And they try their hardest to do everything the right way and to not gouge people. And of course, things happen on the secondary market that they can't control, even though they try to.
Yeah.
And counterbalance to that, or like the counter argument is like, oh well, they don't need the money, which is then where it's like, okay, interesting. What does the PGA of America need the money for then? Like, what are we trying to
Yeah.
fund? And I know it's something, but like when you just do such a piss poor job of telling that story of just like why you exist and why I need to pay $2,100 to go like watch 8 golfers at the Ryder Cup, is when it's like just the whole thing just feels so fucking stupid.
It's
Well,
because you're gonna get
yeah.
waterboarded with commercials if you stay home.
Yeah.
It's extortionist.
And it doesn't help like the PGA of America. You can go read some like horror stories going on in that industry
Right.
right now.
Yeah,
Just your
truly.
club pros and the work-life balance and what kind of a career that is. I'm with you. I think to me, DJ, as you were saying that, like it probably the problem is when you have one event that serves to like fund this entire organization in so many different areas, it's just going to be a mess when it comes to that event itself. And Augusta, it probably funds the club. It funds a number of things, but it's not like
Right.
the national organization that is trying to survive in all these different lanes.
And that's where, like, weirdly, I don't have a problem. I mean, I would love if the tickets were cheaper, but like, I don't have a problem if that's your case, right? If it's like, yo, this is our,
Right.
it's how we make our nut, for the 4 years, right? Because I know the economics are different, like when it's in Europe. So if it's like, hey, we need to take the biggest swing possible, that's fine, but just like maybe a little bit of transparency on like, here's why this is important to us, here's what we're doing in the game
Yeah.
to do a good job, rather than just like, hey, you fucking farmers, I told you guys that people would buy these tickets and they did, so taste it. Go on to
Well,
SeatGeek if you
that's
don't
the
like
thing. It's like
it.
the
It's
whole
like, dude, get out of
unprecedented
here.
demand thing. Like the whole reason you're having it in New York is because it's gonna sell out and it's gonna be the hottest ticket in town. Like, no, that's not a surprise to
Right.
anybody. Then like adjust your lottery numbers accordingly.
Yeah.
Right?
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I think from an operational perspective, your guy Roger Warren, Randy, coming in from Kiowa, who's the new PGA CEO, I think. Who
Good or bad?
I
Good or
will
bad?
say
Bottom
he
line it.
20 listen, they hosted the 2012 PGA Championship media shuttle.
Hmm. I don't have
Buck
to tell
stops
you.
there, right?
I don't have to tell you how that
Yeah,
went. Well, let's talk about Kiowa's list, where they're listed on those top 100 rankings too, while we're
yeah.
at it.
So
TC, let's move
anyway,
on. Let's move on
we're
to
mad as hell.
some
All right.
uplifting news.
Yeah, yeah. DP. It's this is my live corner. We're gonna throw DP World Tour schedule release into this, guys. No big news at all. They released an almost identical schedule to 2024, with the exception of the Scandinavian mixed. It's not on the schedule, Randy, which is a
Hmm.
bummer.
That is a
Um,
bummer. Yeah,
right?
they were out
Yeah.
there. Yeah, they were out there trying to do something different.
I do think some of the mixed events aren't necessarily the best thing competitively. It's tough to set up those golf courses and all of that. But I liked that instead of the other mixed events that are like, hey, we're going to play 2 different tournaments on the same course at the same time. No, everybody's playing in the same tournament. That was
It's
sick.
one
It was.
tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one tournament.
Yeah. Guy Kinnings did note that the 2026 schedule hopefully looks radically different, which, I think the Washington Post just reported that in addition to HE, Yasser Al Rumayyan, Andrew Waterman sitting next to DT last night at the UFC fight, the John Bones Jones fight in Albuquerque. Randy, I know you're a big UFC guy.
Tuned in, TC.
They were sitting together, and I guess DT played golf with Steamboat Jay on Friday.
We thought
So
Steamboat Jay might be powder chasing.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see what happens. Things seem to be moving down the tracks though on that front.
Hey man, when we moved your event away from Doral after that whole Mexican to rapist thing, like
We didn't mean
we're
that.
cool, right? Like, come on. That was just politics, man. Come
Yeah.
on.
And like, yo, we are not the PGA of America. We're
Yeah.
the PGA Tour. We did not move from Trump Bedminster.
Yeah.
That was Seth Waugh and Ted Bishop and those guys.
Yeah. Anyways, not gonna take up a lot of your time. Know you're busy. Just if we could really push the if your boy Matt Gates could push this whole DOJ thing through, like, God, that would just really help everybody out a lot.
Speaking of kind of playing offense here, LIV, they released their six more events for 2025. Randy, I know this gets you excited. We've got the Jack Nicklaus Golf Club in Korea.
That's gonna be sick.
Yeah, you went to the President's Cup there, right?
I did. I'm sure this is still the case, but the one law I remember from Korea, TC, I'm sure you remember this as well, is like I don't think you're allowed to have like your photos on silent, right? Like they have to make like a shutter sound on your phone. And I just remember how loud like all the phones were because it was just there's people taking photos everywhere, and each one of them like you can't be on silent. What I'm saying is like
Such a sick law.
ROM might combust. Yeah, because I think they're they don't want any creeps taking
Exactly. Yeah.
I would vote for it. I'm in.
Other laws there.
I don't think Matt Getz is pushing that one through either.
We were trying to go to a
Neither here nor
Korean
there.
baseball playoff game. Like you can't scalp tickets. There's no secondary market. It's like highly illegal. Like this business transaction of buying a ticket. So PGA of America, like forget about hosting anything there ever. Let's see what else we got. Indianapolis. After that, Merido moves up to the mid-season from the team championship last year. Back to Bolingbrook in Chicago, or just outside Chicago, I should say, and then back at JCB in middle of nowhere, England. So these join Riyadh, Adelaide, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Randy, we may need to go to Singapore. It's opposite the Players though. So the other thing, Spain will once again lead into the Open Championship, it looks like, which is unfortunate. I think Rom and others have really complained about that not being good prep. And then also the CEO of Neom abruptly resigned. So
Sure, that was
just throwing that to you guys.
Super chill convo.
Yeah. The third thing on our menu this evening, TV stuff.
Our pace of play on the E9 TC. We might run out of daylight.
Lanny Watkins leaving his role.
Dropping anchor.
Lead analyst of the Champions Tour. He said, I've had my run. Guy just doesn't want to do stuff remotely.
There was
doesn't want to broadcast from the global home.
He was talking about how he didn't want to be in some windowless room broadcasting golf. He had a lot of great quotes on the value of being on site and talking to guys on the range and all of the things that I'm like, I don't think we have too much of that in the game right now. So fairly well. That was a good send off. But
yeah, and I guess Bob Papa, he has moved his family to Ponte Vedra Beach. Papa is in the house in Ponte Vedra Beach. This is all according to Golf Week. Adam Schupak continues to just churn out, and Papa John is back on X too,
formerly known as Twitter. The everything app.
Yeah, I think this sets the stage for a larger discussion
on X as well
later in the off season about just the tour is going to open up their new global broadcast thing. It's another moat.
What would you guys think about a Hank Haney, Mark Lyde tag team combo coming in to call Champions Tour golf?
I feel like they'd be calling it like they see it, telling it the kind of stuff other people are afraid to say.
Balls and strikes.
Those guys probably feel pretty empowered right now, huh?
I know. They're just gonna let it rip.
So, in other news, Zinger is back in action. He's going to return to a dozen or so. So he's kind of sliding into that Lanny seat. Zinger back for Champions Tour, 10 to 12 Champions Tour events as part of a 1-year deal.
Zinger and quote possibly.
It's not like a full-time gig or anything, which I don't want. To be able to go in there part-time, some really great golf. It'll be kind of fun.
It's sick, man.
It's like nobody as I can and enjoy it.
Nobody watches it. There's like 10 events. It's gonna be fucking awesome, man.
Can't stress how low these stakes are.
This is all courtesy of Schupak as well. And then if you click through,
I know what you're gonna say. TC.
Just the article.
Are you gonna talk about the picture?
Yes. There's this picture of Zinger just at Quill Hollow from like September 2022 holding up this massive bass. He's got his fishing glasses on. And it's just like so random. It doesn't fit at all.
Yes. How did they pick that picture to use? Oh God.
But it's perfect. It's
Oh.
like it fits perfectly as well, right? It's
God.
kind of
Yeah.
brilliant.
Oh, that's good stuff.
I didn't even see that until we were just scrolling through here. So anyway, shout out to Shoe Pack and Golf Week for that stuff. Caitlyn Clark, Pro-Am experience. And I think we can tie this into overall LPGA juice. Randy, did you kind of keep up with that this week?
You know, I wanted to. I tried to read some stuff. I think. Listen, as far as on the ground activation, they had her in for a summit on Tuesday, a networking leadership type deal. And then Wednesday, she played in the Pro-Am. She played 9 holes with Nelly and then the back 9 with Annika. I think it's good. You know, to your larger question about like, is the LPGA capitalizing on the juice, or is there a lot of crossover to non-golf fans? I doubt it. You know, the highlight was seeing Caitlyn. I don't know if you guys saw her almost murk somebody off the first tee of her Pro-Am.
And then just immediately throws another ball down.
She like cold heeled it looked like a hybrid maybe, and just immediately went to the reload in her pocket. That was good. But yeah, TC, I don't think it's. I think for the people there in person, it's
Yeah.
a great thing. I think they had more people out for a Wednesday Pro-Am
They
than
televised it too.
yeah,
the
that
Golf
than you would
Channel.
otherwise get. But
Yeah.
you know,
The rumor is she's going to play, might be teeing it up at the RSM this week too. I think on
Really?
the
Okay.
Wednesday Pro-Am there, as well as TB12.
Really?
So
Wow.
yeah.
How about that?
It's unsubstantiated, but I've heard that from several people. We're just like, yeah, like I can't really figure out why, but
And TC.
they're doing it. Yeah. Well,
TC, I
that's the
think
Monday Pro-Am.
Oh, sure.
TC, I think the two quick points here on the LPGA before we move
Yeah.
on. One, talking schedules, nothing from the LPGA yet.
Well, they always release it the week of
2025
CME.
schedule.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't even gotten any like juicy leaks, so we'll see. And then the other thing, I mean, I don't know how much you want to go into this, but it sounds like Commissioner Molly Marcoux Amon, we're hearing rumblings. I don't know if
End might be
stuff's coming down
nigh.
the I don't know if stuff's coming down the pike here, but it sounds like might have a search for a new commissioner in 2025.
Yeah, I think they had a meeting earlier this week on Tuesday. I think there's another board meeting scheduled for after CME.
You know, they lost Cognizant
Yeah.
as their main sponsor on the Founders Cup, which is like the tour's historical championship. That's not good. The Solheim's Cup stuff. I know the communication has been a constant struggle between her and players. It seems like it's just gotten to
Kind
a
of
breaking
lost
point.
the locker room.
There's
Kind of like Coach Peterson here.
there's so many I don't know. This is woefully oversimplified, I'm sure, but larger problem in golf that seems to like really be illustrated in the LPGA is just constantly like not changing anything and expecting things to change, right? Like
Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
I'm so
Like
predisposed.
you still have to do stuff to capture the wave or ride the
Yeah,
wave, right?
like that's the whole thing is like, oh my God, like this Caitlyn Clark playing in the Pro-Am, like this could change everything. It's like, no, it's not going to, because you guys, your budget for the TV broadcast is about $68, to try to like get this
Pace
thing
of play
on the air.
stinks.
The pace of play
Bob Papa's out of your range. We can't even bring the Papa
the
in.
off the course stuff is tough. There's like the storytelling's not really there. It's just constantly like, yeah, I don't know why nothing changed. Like we didn't really change anything, and that's I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that's again unfair to
No,
people who are working very, very hard every day just to get the fucking tournaments like on the air and to get the ball over the line. But it just it seems like such a chance to maybe I'm just focus group of one here, but just I'm so over watching the PGA Tour outside of about 4 weeks a year that I'm so predisposed to want to watch the LPGA. And it just constantly, every time I tune in, is like, man, this is just as tough to watch as Bermuda or Mexico or whatever, these other events. So it's very frustrating.
I think that's exactly well said. I totally agree. And I would just say if we are talking Caitlyn Clark, what's different about women's basketball and golf? And naturally, more people care about basketball than they will golf. Like basketball is a more popular sport. So there's that. But you saw around women's college basketball, and now the WNBA. You saw broadcast partners that were very invested in building the product. And I think that
long-term process to do so.
that is the black hole of women's golf
Yeah.
right now. And we beat on it to death. But until they get a broadcast partner that truly cares about elevating the product, and the LPGA has a lot of stuff they can do. Quit trying to just be a version of the PGA Tour. Like, take some swings, be different.
And I think the
Yeah,
same
I
goes
think that's
for
well said.
same goes for the Corn Ferry Tour. Same goes for the DP World Tour. Like there's just I'm not saying you need to not play 72 hole stroke play events. Like keep the core thing the same, but like
Yeah.
God, the broadcast doesn't have to look like that.
Pace
All
of
of
play,
the pace of play
storytelling,
stuff doesn't look like that.
broadcasting. Yeah.
Like, man.
There's so much.
Like use it as an incubator
Yeah.
for ideas.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Yes.
totally agree.
TC, let's get to number 5.
Yeah, listen, speaking of incubators for new ideas, TGL, all right? This is my TGL corner. We're going to do one of these every time we have a TCE9. Guys, they put up a new Will It Fit this week. I think they're going to do this every week. All right? Randy, T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Will it fit on the screen? Down there.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah, it's gonna fit, man. That's gonna be
Big
the
ass
biggest
screen.
freaking
Not gonna
thing
fit.
you've ever
Not gonna-
seen.
It's not
It's
gonna
not going to
fit.
fit. It's not going to
It's
fit.
not gonna fit.
Too tall.
Oh,
Believe that?
damn.
Crazy.
I'm kind of surprised they
also-
wouldn't only pick things that would fit to show off how big the screen is. You gotta got me pumped up. Like, oh, well, it's not even as big as a T-Rex. Like, fuck that.
Somebody sent me somebody tagged me in a tweet of third leg Greg walking down the beach. It was like, will it fit? Anyway, did you see the sizzle reel that they put out?
I
Justin
did.
Thomas and the Pat in the Hat.
I did. Good. I loved the end. JT says any questions because my initial thought was just like literally hundreds of questions. Literally hundreds of questions about how this whole thing works.
It is crazy they're hitting off grass. And then lastly,
TC, what is what's the mood in Atlanta? Have you got any boots on the ground and how
I'm going up there. I'll be up there in a week. I'll let you know, man.
All right.
You know, I know Bernie Marcus passed away, R.I.P. He was the co-founder of Home Depot with Randy's guy Arthur Blank, and you know, I think Bernie actually he did a lot of really really good stuff for the community, like with healthcare, aquarium, great man. I think. Whereas Arthur just seems to intent on, although Arthur just built a brand new children's hospital as well. But I don't think Bernie was as into the TGL and stuff like that as Arthur. So last thing I've got on the TGL front, there was a new hole design, the Alpine hole design. This
or
is
Alpine.
from Nicholas Design. Uphill 525 yard par 4 with a cliff all up the left side.
I
think if we're doing this,
yeah,
I think we gotta adjust the launch monitors to be 3,000 or 4,000 feet of elevation.
that's sick if they can change elevation from hole to hole.
Right?
They
Yeah.
get a little card.
Why
Get a
not?
little card that says, this is the elevation we're playing at now. I got a shout out. I was listening to Shotgun Start this week as I often do. Andy pointed out there was one of the Nicholas Design holes. I don't know if you heard him say
Boomerang, I think probably.
I forget which one it was, but the Nicholas people had like superimposed like into their design like there were houses on the hole. Like they're fake holes. Like these are fake holes like that exist in a fake world. And there was like McMansions up on the hill of
maybe they're trying to
the
sell
hole.
them in the metaverse.
I was gonna say these could be NFT opportunities.
Just like an unbelievably funny
Could live next door to Barbara and Jack.
Yeah.
No, I want to see more. They got a lot more holes to release. I want to see a lot more outrage. I want to see more Temple. I want to see more.
I agree.
Augustine
get
Pisa.
weird.
Yeah, let him cook, baby.
Yeah, agree.
So, Randy, I threw this in there. This is like a tennis kind of tie-in with golf. Zverev, the tennis player, had some comments on the tennis ball, and it just had me thinking about regulations and rollback around the golf ball and everything like that. Basically saying how the tennis ball is really really slowed down, and it's slowed down in certain parts of the swing or the kind of once it reaches velocity, it's like expanding almost. So it's slowed down. Good quotes there, but wanted to see what you made of it, as well as what kind of tennis ball do you buy, and are you playing any indoor tennis this winter?
Yeah, I think the tennis ball discussion is interesting, and if people don't know, like the type of ball changes throughout the year in the tennis circuit, and so it's obviously uniform for the event that they're at, but event to event, it's a different type of ball, and I know there is starting to be some rumblings, TC, about the different balls they're seeing more injuries. They think like elbow and wrist.
And they've slowed it down a lot, right? Or at least
Yeah,
they
it seems
did
like
a while back.
Zverev's talking about supply chain, getting into like different rubber. I'm not well versed on all that, but I always thought it's like, hey, you're a professional tennis player. You're going to show up to an event. Here's the ball. You're the best in the world. Like, adjust to it. And I do kind of like that idea for professional golfers. My tennis game, TC, I am looking to play this tennis. As of now, I'm not signed up for anything. Winter is a hot time, though, for tournaments and events. There's a lot of indoor facilities in and around Denver. And I've met a fellow tall, and we're looking to perhaps team up in some doubles action this winter. Shout out my guy, Corey. So hoping to play some tennis. And, the ball I buy, TC, it's truly just what they're going to hand to me from behind the counter.
Okay.
I'm not brand loyal. I
Okay.
don't look for the only difference being like if I'm playing indoor, I ask for an indoor ball, and if I'm outdoor, I ask for a more durable outside ball.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was saying he loves the Dunlop,
Hmm.
fuzzy Dunlop. He said Dunlop,
Yeah.
but they've and they like the pen ones, but they've gotten slower. So
Yeah.
hate seeing that. I got a couple depressing ones. We don't need to spend a lot of time on them. Golf Digest ran an NIL story about just Nick Dunlap was involved. It was basically a look at like how NIL has changed amateur golf, junior golf, all of that. It was pretty. It's like, man, like what are we doing? And then it was also extremely like rosy, uh, you know, unicorns and flowers kind of stuff. And it's like you can't talk about Nick Dunlap and then not mention that like his parents are like suing the agency that he's worked with and all. It's kind of like you got to tell the full story, right? So do better, Golf
Yeah.
Digest.
This was an interesting. This was a tough one. I watched No Country for Old Men for the first time in a while this weekend, and it was a lot of the there's this evil, like I feel overmatched. I don't there's this evil that I don't know if I'm capable of really keeping up with and dealing with anymore. And that's kind of how I feel about a lot of the NIL stuff. It's just like, yeah, there's this 16-year-old kid, and like, I don't know, he might be good and he might not, but like he's got a fuckload of Instagram followers. So like
Yeah.
people are flooding to him to like give him a bunch of dough. And I was
Like
just
Randy, people are flooding to him.
I was thinking about like Scotty Scheffler when he's like, when he was 16 years old. It's like I just don't know that he's the guy that's getting all the NIL deals without the like, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel stuff, which just kind of is a natural fracture point. And I just, yeah, it's tough, man. Randy, I'm kind of like you with the Ryder Cup stuff where I'm like, man, I don't want to be anti talent here, but like, I don't know if giving 14-year-old kids like a bunch of dough and like flattening their entire worldview into like what is a celebrity and what is not is like a great road to go down. So yeah, just thank you for that one, TC. Really bleak fucking read.
Yeah. Well, no, thank Golf Digest. Don't shoot the messenger, right?
It was interesting. It was thought provoking and an original, an original story. So
Yeah, but they presented it in such a sunshine and rainbows way. It was like, okay, cool. Like that's one way to look at it,
yeah,
guys. I think the other thing, the looming NCAA roster limits. Brentley Romine wrote this on Golf Channel, and basically limiting the rosters to what 8 or 9 guys, and like there's just gonna be a lot less spots up for grabs in college golf, and that's candidly that's how a lot of these coaches have funded their programs of like, hey, we're even post varsity blues of like, hey, we're gonna sell off the 2 or 3 bottom spots on the roster to well-heeled donor parents or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like there might be some downside or like some downstream benefits for mid majors of, hey, it's going to flush certain like SEC is going to endow all 8 or all 9 of these scholarships, and then mid majors like there's going to be more talent flowing there instead of Alabama or Georgia just keystering a bunch of guys. But I don't know, Randy. I'm curious to get your take because you used to work kind of in this space a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's good for college athletics to set like roster size limitations. I think evening the divisions, the playing field, school to school is important that way. As Brentley wrote, like it's good that the NCAA, the lawsuits, they're going to a revenue share model where the schools can pay athletes directly. Now, as you say, it's going to cut into what have been a lot of roster spots in golf, but I think overall, as we look at college athletics, I think it's good that, like, hey, if you're a Division I basketball team, let's say you have 15 roster spots. It's not like you can have 30 roster spots and you almost like create your own little like development, but who knows what schools will get into. So I do think it's good. And like you said, the SEC is going to an 8 limit or an 8-person roster limit for golf. And so, they're just not going to be spots for very talented people, and that's going to waterfall into all the other programs across the country. I actually think it's a good thing, and I would welcome it. I can't wait for it to be imposed in other sports.
Seems like they're, building the car, building the plane as they fly it, because I don't think anybody knows how, like, what it's all going to land at. But it does seem like there could be some beleaguered parents who are like, "Wait, I've been investing in my kid to get a scholarship, for golf." And it's like, "Yo, like, there's less of them, and your kid's not good enough."
Well, I think Brantley did a good job too of kind of humanizing like the transition period, right? Where you had a lot of kids who, had been offered scholarships or had been offered places on the team where they're just like, well, actually, we're now going from 12 to 10. And so I guess 2 of you've got to go, which is a tough spot to be. But yeah, Randy, I'm with you. We'll kind of see how it shakes out over the next couple of years.
Yeah. I think it also makes roster building interesting, TC, in that, do you pair your scholarships with your roster spots, or do you intentionally kind of leave 1-2 spot open, hoping to get a transfer in terms of like signing high school kids or incoming freshmen? I
feel
don't
like
know.
all this stuff needs to be in concert with like transfer reform. Of like, we can't
Right.
just have kids like going to
Unlimited.
like it's crazy. Like, you can't. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for the kids. Not good for Granted, if your coaches leave, like, you should have rights to go somewhere, but it's gone too far to the other side, I think. So
All right, TC, bring us home. Number 9.
yeah, listen, the Speed Golf World Championships were this past week. I think they were in Japan. I had an inbound email from a participant prior. I think he's traveling back to Australia. I haven't been able to get in touch with him. I thought I had the scoop. I don't. It turns out I don't have the scoop. So we will update the Speed Golf World Championships, the results, and kind of I'd like to just get him on for 5 or 10 minutes to just pick his brain on, like, hey, how fast are we playing? How, like, what's the
Speed golf's
what's the
awesome.
deal here? Yeah.
I'm,
So more to come there.
I'm in on speed golf. TC, that was an eclectic list. Some laughs, some thought-provoking stuff, a couple tears. It's
Well,
that's all we're looking for out of
we'll have our editor throw the Zinger
God,
fishing picture up.
so good. All right, guys, let's land this plane, should we? We're getting deep into the night here. A little bit your week in golf. I wanted to touch on Randy, mostly because you haven't been on one of these recaps in a while. TC mentioned this. No idea where your golf game is at.
Oh.
I'm sworn to secrecy a little bit. I've seen you on Strapped play a couple of rounds of golf, but fill the people in. What's the update as we kind of as there's snow on the ground now in your hometown and you're reflecting back on your year in golf? Where are we at?
Yeah, honestly, it's a shame I had to take that strap trip and play golf because I had such a perfect season ender out at our NIT event in Arizona at Dobson Ranch. Fired a career best, even par 72. Was one under.
Yeah, I'm playing pretty
I
good.
think I totally forgot. Like, I was there, and I
Yeah.
remember talking to you about this, and I totally forgot about
The
it.
best part was I
was-
wasn't there, and coming back like to our Monday meeting, everyone's like, "Oh my god, the golf course was like it was playing so hard. It was like just really hard to get the greens down." I'm like, am I drunk here? Didn't Randy just like
Are you guys-
career it?
I guess stupid Randy show. Yeah, it was such a fun round. And I'll just add that it was so unique for me in the sense that I was 3 over through 11 holes. So it's like at that point, you're like, no chance. I mean, under par is not even something I'm thinking of. And obviously went on to birdie 4 of the next 7 holes and was standing on 18T, 1 under, par 4, and just got totally nervous, man. And a little quick little, not like a duck
Par
hook, but
5.
just
Par
a
5,
little
right?
quick left. No, because it was a
Oh, the
shotgun. So
shotgun.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I made a nervous swing for my drive, got off like left fairway, played a punch shot up pretty good, just short of the green, hit a good chip, rolled out to, about 8 feet, and had a little slider to shoot under par, which was like, oh my God. Missed it, tapped in for 72. And I should have truly, like, that should have been like, boys, see y'all in 2025. But we did do the strap trip, DJ. We had a great time on the strap trip. It was about more than the score I was putting on the scorecard.
I think for anybody who, might listen to this podcast and think like, oh, nihilist Randy, I don't know, does he, what gets him go? Nothing gets him going like posting a score on a scorecard. And so I
Yeah.
just made me really happy to hear the recounting of like, man, I got to 18T and I was like legitimately super nervous to, to shoot under
Oh,
par. Like, that's
the
sick.
thought, no, the truly the thought that was in my mind was like, this will probably be your only chance in your life to do this.
No, Randy, I bet your thought was, you know what? Actually, this doesn't count because it's a shotgun and I
Oh,
didn't
that's
start on
interesting.
one.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't
Yeah.
play as the architect intended.
Yeah.
I know it was killing me a little bit there, but
I was joking, but that actually did kill you.
no, I was like, this could seriously be my one shot in life. You have to make par on this hole, and of course I didn't. So yeah,
TC,
we'll see.
any golf updates? Your TC really got he plays in this thing called the Blue Man or the Blue Men.
Yeah, the
And
Blue Man Group
for a
on
while, I always thought it
Fridays.
was like TC's going to like a Blue Man Group show at like 4 in the afternoon. Like, what the hell is
No,
this?
no. Blue Man Group. Party Doctor was in a fishing tournament this week,
With Zinger.
Friday and Saturday. It was windy down here. Some of that wind was coming from the low pressure system out by Bermuda. So he was catching reds on flies, or trying to at least. So play with a few other guys. I hit every fairway. I drove the ball so well, and I was 4 over through 2. I boned wedges on 1, boned a wedge on 2. It was really windy. I just didn't battle. So I got some golf coming up this week. I got RSM. Cody flew into town this afternoon. We're driving up there tomorrow, and then playing Tree Farm.
All right.
36 on Tuesday at Tree Farm. Actually, with Randy's brother-in-law, Goodbar.
Good bar, yeah.
Huge.
He's the one that, if people
What a
remember,
collection!
the guy that, his swing looks like, I
Bounces
mean,
off his shoulder.
it's crazy. It's one of the most unique moves I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So,
Gosh.
DJ, how about you? You're shutting it down for the year? Or?
No, I played once. It very well may have been my last round in Milwaukee, depending on what happens with the weather. Although it was downright balmy today, so we'll see. I'm going TC. I think maybe down to play a little golf at the Onion Farm here in a couple weeks with you. So I will have some more golf, just maybe not at home. But played with a bunch of friends of the program. Played with Stephen Watson, who was in our club championship video. Play with our guy Drew Pond from Stone Creek, and my nemesis AJ, who I mentioned having my 7-match losing streak to. Mercifully, he suggested that he and I be on the same team for a partner game, and he came up with this harebrained, like, the first 6 holes are a scramble, the next 6 holes are like a modified Scotch foursomes, and then the last 6 holes are like a actual Scotch foursomes. It was the best. I just, my only big
That's sick.
takeaway, other than your boys driving the shit out of the ball and not doing anything else well, it just got to normalize more team golf and like
Yeah.
non 4-ball, like true alt shots, scrambles, your shot, my shot type of
Herman
stuff.
Cain's.
Herman Cain's, yeah, all the different formats, because it just was an absolute blast. So shout out to all those guys. We had a great,
DJ, I will say, we were playing a little 6-6-6 game, carts,
yeah, cards opposites,
opposites,
drivers,
yeah,
yeah.
and the last 6 hole, like, that was really where the juice was, so I was just trying to make some birdies, and then I played the last 4 holes left-handed, and I made a great par. I made a 4 for 3 on the 18th hole
Hell yeah.
to win the match.
God,
So
your
I'm kind of getting the itch to
I love
play a
it.
little bit
Your
left-handed
lefty phase
this
is
this winter.
one of the great periods in golf
You
history.
should carve it out by time of year. There should be
That's
certain
interesting.
months where you just play lefty,
Yeah.
and then the rest
It's
of
a
the time, right?
seasonal thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Casey from our team.
Yes.
Kind of her best round of the year, I believe. A little 84, 47, 37. We are still waiting to hear.
Much better than a 37-47.
Exactly. Nobody. She's in that Randy camp of like, She loves the process, loves trying to improve, loves the score at the end of the day. And so for her to post the best of the year is good stuff.
All we are is the score at the end of the day. That's all we are.
Well said. All right, guys, couple housekeeping things before we get out of here. On the YouTube channel, go watch Cody and Neil play with our guys Brownie and Chad at Southampton. Kind of a shout out to the Simpson Cup. Just a really cool adaptive golf video that turned out really well. If you want to see like what tremendous athletes those dudes are, that's a great look at it in a way that I had not really seen before.
What
So
a fun golf course too.
yeah, really cool stuff there. Couple of recent pods. The 1998 majors deep dive was great. There was a couple stories in there that like I had never heard before. I didn't know that Tiger Woods movie existed that KVV was talking about. We might need to do like a watch along for Nest members or something about that Tiger Woods movie. That's good stuff. And then TC, we've also got a Fife travel episode coming up.
Yeah, Fife travel episode that drops this coming week. And then we had the LC. We took that from behind the Nest paywall and put that up there with Juan Pond.
Exactly right.
Recounting Lauren's ascent. So, and then the Ball Tours chopped last week. Randy and I, actually, it's already in the can. We already chopped.
Is that right?
It's going out.
We're diving deep into the cabinet nominations. If you want all of that information, check out the chops.
A lot of antitrust talk, big airports, segment there.
I'm kind of joking. It's all the most important news items from around the world, like it is every time. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. What else? We got NLU Black Friday stuff is starting to cook, so keep an eye out for that. Get your holiday shopping knocked out. We got a lot of great stuff in the shop. Randy, I know we got a big night for Los Bengals, so we're gonna get
big night.
We're gonna we're gonna get you out of here on this one. I took over for KVV, a little one for the road situation here. We talked a lot of golf course rankings today with the golf.com list. My aforementioned friend Jim from Chicago Golf Club sent me this list. This is the 1977 Golf Digest list of America's 100 greatest golf courses. A couple of interesting things here about this list. These cowards refuse to rank things from 1 to 100, which I hate. All they did was put it in buckets where they did like first 10, second 10, third 10, and they did them in alphabetical
order. Which outlet is this?
This was Golf
Digest. Okay.
And then the second 50.
That helps spur debate, though.
Maybe.
I need to sit with that a little bit more.
I'll forward you guys the list after this. But the second 50, they didn't even rank. They just put like second 50. So there's just 50 in alphabetical order. You don't know if they're 51 or 100. Yeah. But I thought it was kind of interesting. So what I'm going to do is throw a couple of these golf courses out here. I want you guys to guess what bucket they fell in. First 10, second 10, third 10, fourth 10, or second 50. Okay.
Okay.
Let's start with Chicago Golf Club.
Second 50.
Yeah, I'll join TC there. Second 50.
That's exactly right. Second 50. You guys nailed it. Firestone Country Club.
Second 10.
Third 10.
Third 10. Randy, 2 for 2.
Yeah.
It was in the top 30. Olympic Club. Randy's favorite.
Top 10.
Second.
God, you guys are way too good at this. Top 10 is exactly right. Cog Hill number 4, TC.
Oh. God. Third 10.
No, that was in the second 50. I'm sorry. No, it was in the fifth 10. I apologize. Just inside the top 50. Cypress Point Club.
Top 10.
Second 10?
Second 10 is right. Last one, Colonial Country Club. There was actually 2 Colonial Country Clubs, but on the list, but I referred to the one in Fort Worth.
Where was the other one?
I forget. It was the Colonial Country Club in Memphis, TC.
Okay.
Second 10. Second 10. Colonial was doing some work. You guys kind of did better at that than I thought you were. Here was
so there's this book in the Dornick Cottage at Pinehurst. God,
remember how deep we got into that book?
That like there's some courses there that like they were like they were saying they're like top 30 courses in the country, and like I've never heard of these places. I don't think some of these places exist anymore. They looked like there's golf. Like, there was some Augusta National pictures with golf carts in the pictures. It's so sick. I got to find that book. Wolfie probably knows about it.
So the top 10 that they had in 1977. This is again in alphabetical, not rank order. Augusta National, Oakmont, Olympic Club, Pebble Beach, Pine Valley, Pinehurst number 2, Seminole, Southern Hills, and Wingfoot. So no real shockers
Really
in the top
similar,
10.
except for just like some massive outliers.
Exactly.
Right.
And then a couple of just random notables that made the top 100 that I thought you guys would get a kick out of. Your beloved champions in Houston.
Oh yeah,
Both
Jackie
courses.
Burke's place.
Both courses made the top 100, which I thought was pretty
that's
interesting.
huge.
Cascades are, the house that Sam Snead built was in the top 30.
Yeah.
Jupiter Hills was in the top
Cuesta.
30.
This is supposed to be so hard.
Atlanta Country Club TC was in the
Yeah.
top 100. It was in the second 50. Bay
They
Hill
just redid.
was in the second 50, which I don't even think we double clicked on the fact that Bay Hill's reign of terror no longer takes over the top 100 anymore.
When did they fall out, I wonder?
I don't know.
Bay
It's
Hill's getting
interesting.
schlonged. Absolutely schlonged.
Randy, what can you tell me about Coldstream in Cincinnati?
Arnie wouldn't have fit.
Coldstream's a good course. Big greens. Big.
Dick Wilson, right?
I believe that's right. I think Joe Burrow has a house
Speaking
out
of
there
getting
now.
schlonged.
I've actually never played it. One of the courses in Cincinnati I've never played.
That was in the second 50.
That was where Mike Wan grew up caddying, I think.
you're right.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Disney World Golf Club was in the second 50. The Palm Course, of course. Grandfather Golf and Country Club. Never heard of that one.
That's in North Carolina.
Okay.
That's I think that's like an old school. That's up by like Linville.
I put that on my list of just look into that. Hadn't been there. Greenville Country Club, the Chanticleer course.
Chanticleer.
Yeah, it was
RTJ Senior
was in the top 50.
Hogan.
And NCR, the national. It took me a second to
the National Cash Register.
register the National Cash Register Golf Club. Was in the top.
Still a good course,
of course.
That's probably a top borderline top 200, top 250.
Palmetto Dunes in Hilton Head. I thought Randy, as maybe next time you're at the timeshare, you swing by there. And then the last one that kind of blew my mind, Sawgrass Country Club was in the top 100 TC. Just a place that's quite tired, but used to be a little bit of a snare in the maze, I feel like.
DL3 might be redoing that soon, hopefully.
There you go.
I thought you were going to tell us Hyde Park. The Jack's Hyde Park was in
maybe
there.
1877 list.
I was going to say probably after Stanley Thompson got finished with it.
So
it's got such good bones.
I might effort a little older list. I was hoping 1977 would have some more surprises on it, but that's your kind of half-assed one for the road there, guys.
Hell yeah.
Guys, what a treat. Anything else before we roll? I cannot imagine have predicted a 2-hour podcast on November 17th, but
that's the beauty of rankings.
That's exactly right.
We get deep on the rankings. Yeah, we should get Stephen A. Smith talking about the rankings.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, guys, have a great week. Good to be with you. Good to chop it up. TC, thanks for a delightful E9. I can't wait to see what our Will It Fit is this week, and we'll talk to everybody next week.
Are they all going to be dinosaurs?
I don't know. No, I think they got to shake it up, right? You got to shake it up.
I could see a woolly mammoth or something like that,
or even just buildings. The Pentagon. Will it fit? Who knows? All right, we'll see you guys next week.